Let's talk today a little bit about MAGA's war on woke. What is anti woke? Welcome to Law and Society. Please subscribe and let's talk about it. So, this idea of being anti woke, which is opposite woke, has been one of the mainstays of the MAGA movement. And, you know, Ron DeSantis has used it many times. I don't know if you would consider him part of the MAGA movement or not, but I believe that he's part of that ideology. So, what is woke? Woke is the past tense of wake. It's the past participle of wake. Wake means, I'm reading the dictionary definitions here, the state of being awake. In a sociological context, woke means to be aware of societal constructs and perspectives, aware of your surroundings, aware of history, aware of American history, and aware of basic truth. It is a colloquial term that is was predominantly used by the African American community before Donald Trump and MAGA decided to declare war on woke. So, other than the very blatant racism involved in woke, there is also another aspect to it. Saying anti-woke, and I've said this before, saying anti-woke is almost the same as saying you're racist because you are going against a word and the usage and a culture that is predominantly African American. Now it's into the mainstream, but your beginnings of the woke movement started as uh, a non-racist way of saying racist. So, but then it bleeds into further, right? Because aware means receptive to knowledge with ability to process it. It also bleeds into human intellectual capacity. What is intellectual capacity? What is the intellect? It is the ability to use rationale and intelligence to learn and navigate through life. Aware people employ their intelligence to navigate through society. Unaware people don't. Unaware people use inundated narratives taught by somebody they trust. Perpetuating that narrative without awareness of the truth or the ability to verify whether the narrative is true builds the foundation of an anti intellectual movement. While this has a populist appeal, true populism is always accompanied by leadership from populist intellectuals. That is not the case in Donald's MAGA movement. This movement, the MAGA movement, is a fake populist movement. It is a cult of personality masked as a populist movement that accompanies a fascist ideology that rejects intellectual thought. So MAGA is an anti-intellectual fascist movement that wants to upend fact-based social systems, rewrite our racial history, rewrite our legacy of social reforms, rewrite the history of social security, rewrite the history of slavery in our country. This revisionism is at the core of what MAGA wants because MAGA wants to play its narrative and have its narrative be the only thing that people believe. And that is a cult. That is not a populist movement. This cult is heralded by Donald Trump and accompanied by all his enablers who are betting on Donald Trump being in power again. And if they aren't, they are already in power, like JD Vance and Tim Scott. They want more power, and they're selling their ideological souls to a movement that is not based on ideology. It's based on what one person says or wants done. So, this anti intellectual shift, or this faction of American public that is anti intellectual and easily persuaded by a fake populist veneer, where Donald Trump is always he's close and he's accessible to the people. He's always in Mar-a-Lago talking to regular people. He's waving, like whatever picture that they portray of him, it works for the people who are inundated enough or who get swept up in the fake populism that Donald Trump throws out. It is to the detriment of the republic. It is fake humility, because we know in truth that Donald isn't humble. We know that he cannot accept loss. We know that he cannot accept being wrong. So the humility that he shows by being around people, it always on the other side of the red cord, mind you, the red barricade around him and his Secret Service. He's never really around people, but at least on camera, he's closer to the people than a lot of politicians are. So that's how he builds his fake populist movement. And the inundation comes from Donald Trump, Donald Trump's allies, Donald Trump's media allies like Fox, and then you have all the other Newsmax and all the other far right media stations, media channels that go out and spread the same lies. And then you have Russian propaganda machines picking up and amplifying those lies on social media. And so, and then you have media companies like the Sinclair Group bleeding that the into local populations in rural areas. Therefore, going into the capillaries of our country and taking this poison with them. So it is important for us to be mindful of this. It is important for us to point out where we see fallacy based, false narrative based talk that is designed to radicalize people. We need to call it out. There are many people online who call it out constantly. You have Republicans against Trump. You have Lincoln Project. You have uh, the Bulwark. These are you have conservatives who are out there. Former Representative Walsh, former Representative Riggleman. There are people who continue to dispel, and good journalists like Kyle Cheney and Scott McFarlane, Hugo Lowell, Roger Parloff. The names go on. There are many of them who are real-time reporting on these lies, and we need to be able to discern lies from the truth. And then we as citizens, regular citizens, have a responsibility to spread that word, to explain to others why the false narrative is harmful, not just to the truth, but also to the bottom line of them being in a better place and in a better society, with social security rights, with right to choose for women, with manufacturing coming back to the United States because of the Infrastructure Act, because of a boom in superconductor technology, because of a boom in chips manufacturing, because of the laws that have been placed by a blue Congress and President Biden. Those are coming into focus now, lowering the cost of insulin, erasing student debt. These are all acts that are happening by the president, that the president is doing exactly as promised. And in fact, President Biden is now fulfilling the promises that Donald Trump made but did not keep, like in taking infrastructure and manufacturing to states like Wisconsin and Michigan. So we have to keep dispelling the false narratives. We have to present to the people who are undecided and who are still mesmerized by Donald's veneer populism that no, it's not populism, it's actually fascism, and they want to take you away from your republic, from your individual rights, and put you in an autocratic regime where the rule of law is a political tool. We don't live in a society where the rule of law is a political tool at this time. But Donald Trump very openly is threatening to do so. And Project 25 very openly is saying that they want to do away with the Department of Education. They want to probably replace it with the Department of Inundation. And, you know, we all know what will happen then. And there will be a rewriting of history as America has known for decades and decades and decades. There will be pushback, but when there's an authoritarian state, things turn quickly. And there are many more people who are in the rungs of power who are willing to upend the rule of law to save their own hide, who are willing to go far, so far out as to undermine our Constitution. There are people there, and that is a distinct possibility if we do not go out and vote for President Biden and Vice President Harris. So, with that said, I will stop today's rant. It wasn't a substantive thing, but I wanted to talk about this because it irks me that, we talk about wake and woke and, anti woke without really understanding what that war is about. It's a war on intellectualism. It's a war on thinking. It's a war on the capacity of individuals to think and to form a society based on fact-based knowledge. That's incredibly destructive to society. There's no productive element to that sort of movement. So, with that said, thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon.